Calaroga Shark Media.
From Washington, D.C., where they aren't booing, they are chanting, Trump! This is Ballot.
That's right. Today the boo birds are out, and Nikki Haley folded like a cheap lawn chair in a hurricane, and now she's sold out to a blowhard. Let's hit this! Stephen Colbert joked Trump's social media account put out a bit of disturbing content. It was a campaign video with a headline about a unified Reich. Now, before you get too worked up, there's a simple explanation. Donald Trump wants to rule over a unified Reich. Jimmy Fallon commented, "The Trump campaign just announced that they're now accepting donations in cryptocurrency." Not to be outdone, President Biden announced that he's now accepting donations in Werther's Originals and ear quarters. Nikki Haley announced she'd be supporting Trump. Michael Costa asked, "What the hell, Nikki? What happened to that Margaret Thatcher quote about never following the crowd? Is there another Margaret Thatcher quote where she said, just follow the crowd, whatever?" But the big story was Trump walking into the lion's den of the Libertarian National Convention. It was like a stand-up comedian bombing at a tough crowd, except this comedian was actually trying to win over these freedom-loving anti-government rebels. Talk about a tough room. As soon as the former president took the stage, the boos started raining down like a Category 5 hurricane of disapproval. Every time Trump begged for their votes or endorsement, the jeers grew louder, making it clear these libertarians weren't buying what he was selling. Trump tried to throw some shade back at the crowd, mocking their poor election turnouts over the decades. But these feisty libertarians weren't having it, hurling insults like, "Lock him up," and "You had your shot," right back at the former president. At one point, punches were even thrown in the audience. It was like a pay-per-view UFC event broke out amidst all the anti-Trump chaos. Can you imagine if that happened at one of his MAGA rallies? Those fine people would never. But there were a few bright spots for Trump. He got some cheers when he called for pardoning the January 6th defendants, because what's more libertarian than trying to overthrow the government, am I right? Trump told the crow, "No, that's not right, crowd. Although there may have been crows there. Who even knows anymore? You can either nominate us and give us the position or give us your votes. Otherwise, keep getting your 3% every 4 years," adding, "Maybe you don't want to win." It's almost poetic that after his supporters tried to troll Trump with those silly foul props, RFK Jr. himself got unceremoniously plucked from contention with a measly 2% of delegates' support. Talk about getting egg on your face. Kennedy and his vice presidential running mate Nicole Shanahan are now essentially free-range candidates without a major party to call home. They'll have to really ruffle some feathers to get on enough state ballots to be viable spoilers. Of course, RFK Jr. is putting on a brave face, talking about building an alliance of independent voters to take on the Republican-Democrat corrupt duopoly. Easy for him to squawk now that he's been eliminated. The real winners here are clearly the die-hard libertarians who fiercely defended their philosophy and principles from the perceived interloper Kennedy. They made clear they're not just a vehicle for getting on ballots. They actually believe in that personal freedom, limited government stuff. In the end, this bizarre chapter of the 2024 campaign was simply a hilarious illustration of how deeply polarizing a figure Kennedy has become. To his detractors, he's a fringe conspiracy theorist unworthy of a major platform. But to his passionate supporters, he's the only choice to finally break up the two-party duopoly. One thing's for sure, whether you view him as a maverick or a clown, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has certainly injected some must-see absurdity into this race. And in today's politics, sometimes laughter is the only medicine for the madness. At a campaign rally in the Bronx on Thursday evening, Trump promised to restore safety to New York City's streets, and then enthusiastically brought a few special guests on stage, rappers Chef G and Sleepy Hallow. Chef G is facing attempted murder charges brought by the Brooklyn District Attorney last year as part of a major gang takedown. He was also in prison for an unrelated weapons sentence. Meanwhile, Sleepy Hallow faces conspiracy charges in the same gang case and previously served 8 months for weapons possession. The irony of Trump promising to restore safety to New York streets while enthusiastically parading around rappers facing serious criminal charges like attempted murder and gang conspiracy. Talk about mixed messaging. It's almost comical to envision the former president, who has railed against filthy homeless encampments and violence plaguing the city, sharing a stage with artists allegedly tied to vicious gang activity involving shootouts and innocent bystanders getting struck by gunfire. Not exactly the law and order image he's going for. Love him or hate him, you've got to admit there's never a dull moment with Trump on the campaign trail. Surrounding himself with attempted murder suspects as he vows to take back the streets. Just another day of high-wire political theatrics for the former president. The cleanup on aisle messaging will have to wait for another day.